is really not about bionic hands. It's more about simpler mechanically actuated devices. But we're a small fringe group, if you will, that's interested in looking at bionic side of things. And once in a while, we get some great speakers. Unfortunately, this week, I wasn't able to locate anyone, but if you folks are aware of other work, be more than happy to set them up for the next call. We do this once a month, basically. And I've been a volunteer with e-NABLE for maybe 3 years. I built a few hands, and really I'm, not that active a person in generating prosthetics and building prosthetics, but would like to. So that's me. And with that, we can further go around the table.
Maybe I'll introduce myself to you. I'm Sarah. I'm a coordinator with e-NABLE, so I help to coordinate our monthly meetings, and I send out a newsletter. If you're not subscribed and would like to be, please send me your email addresses, and I manage the hub and some of our other ongoing initiatives at e-NABLE. So if you have any questions about anything, or questions about a new project or volunteering or how to get started with something, you can always reach out to me on the hub or over email, and I can drop my email in the chat.
So Patrick or David, if you're interested in talking about anything, I guess this is wide open at this point. We don't have a regularly scheduled speaker, so you feel free to.
If I'm not mistaken, and only mean to cut off for the delay, but were you doing like My Electric or something last time? I think that was the last time I spoke to you.
Were you asking me, Patrick, or David?
I think it was you, but I'm asking generally anyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's been quite a few talks with folks talking about these bionic devices that use myoelectrics primarily. And I think if you survey the literature, there's most of the bionic hands out there use some sort of myoelectric sensor for feedback, for touch feedback. Some of them use force sensing, but seems like myos are kind of the big major sensor type.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of what I remember last. Thank you.
Right. So Patrick, you said you're just sort of interested. You drop in once in a while. Are you doing anything more with fabricating limbs or anything like that, or?
Not so much. I haven't had the space where I can keep that a consistent quality. So unfortunately, it's more learning it, and I like the R&D element without knowing as much of the foundation, to be quite honest.
Okay. David, do you have any other inputs you can share? Your phone, David, muted. It's a common Zoom problem.
Yeah, I mean, for a laptop, I'm actually, but the first time I'm using Zoom on my phone. It's I think for me, what was always tough the first time when I was more active member printing hands and stuff is that I think the model of individuals printing hands is really interesting, but to me, it doesn't scale super well, right? Because to me, it's like, I think there's it's like 750,000 transradial potential recipients in the US alone. And so for me, it's like, we can't really 3D print we could 3D print 750,000 hands, but to me, what really interests me is the idea of how do we scale this. I worked on the opposite of Bionic project with Skip a while back, basically just looking at could we vacuum cast a dummy hand with a passive spring and a lock. And right, like what is the cheapest we could get it to? And the cheapest we could get it to was cheaper per volume, even amortized for capital tooling, than 3D printed. And that's to me, like whether it's Bionic or like a purely passive spring, that's to me what really is interesting, is the idea of like right now e-NABLE is helping a few hundred people a year, maybe a few thousand. And I don't mean that to discredit the work, but to me, the interesting thing is going to be how do we make that not a few thousand, but a few 100,000? How do we do that a few 100,000 globally? And that's kind of the crux of my skill set, is like taking an idea that's mostly functional, making it fully functional, and then scaling it, whether it's electromechanical or pure mechanical. I had looked at doing it for the Phoenix V4, I think at the time, or the V5 is what was the latest version.
Okay.
Yeah, the tough part is everyone wants a slightly scaled version.